Okay. Okay, so we have our guests from UW, this Peter Koss and Zubair Amjad. Just a short story, we met in an airplane and they were playing Smash Brothers and I was like, can I join? Turns out that they're also CS students, so pretty good. And then now they're here. So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a funny story because it's like a small world. Like, yeah, we were playing Smash, Peter, I, and another guy from DubsTech, Shane. We were playing Smash, and Clark's like, "Oh, can I join?" And we're like, "Oh, sure." And that's how it happened. But anyways, my name is Zubair, and I'm going to talk about my tech journey in DubsTech. And first, about who I am. I'm like a senior at the University of Washington. I'm a developer, GitHub developer, you know. And I'm president of DubsTech, and I will get to that later. It's like what DubsTech is, and all that. So I'm going to start off with my defining failure. This is something, CSE 142 is Computer Programming 1. I took this freshman year when I first got to UW. And it's, I failed the class, flat out failed the class, and I got like a 16 out of 100 on my final. I was academically in high school, I was a really good student, 3.6, honor roll, and when this happened, I had no idea what to do. So from that, like, what came next?
For a while. I think we forgot to share yours.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can just show it again. And...
So, like,
good.
Okay. So anyways, what came next? I got into, that's not, no. Okay, so I got into the University of Washington's information school, the informatics major. I essentially created my GitHub. It was empty when I first started, and now it's big. And I basically dove into Android development and iOS development and all that. And then I got an internship at a small startup. At the time when I met them, they were just starting out. The startup thing was Allochain. They were trying to do something with blockchain. So what I did was I worked with like Crypto.js, which is a JavaScript library, and made like an encrypted chat application and all that. That's what I did there. I finished my portfolio website after a long time. And then I helped DubsTech become the biggest RSO at UW, tech RSO at UW, and all that. And we had 43 events this quarter, and this leads into what is DubsTech. So DubsTech is a registered student organization at the University of Washington, and what we do is basically we offer like mentorship programs, like we have the data science mentorship program there, UX mentorship program there, and all that for students, and it's for any student basically, and anyone can join. You don't have to be a UW student. You could be like not in school even, and you can still do these programs. The idea is to have this open for everyone, and it's to offer everyone like get these skills if they're interested in it. We're not limited to like just tech majors. We want essentially everyone who's interested. So you could be a business major. You can come to our events and look at what's going on. You could be like we had like a mechanical engineering major come in, a psychology major, and they just checked it out, and they keep coming back because it's free. We don't really charge anyone. Like our mission is we want students or anyone to have these skills that they're really passionate about tech, essentially. And then I didn't do this alone. This was like there's this whole team that goes behind it. This is I think most of the team. The middle guy here, Joshua, he's also a big part of it. Essentially, so I brought him back. He was on DubsTech, but then some circumstances happened. I wasn't the president at the time, but some circumstances happened where he kind of got removed from the team. And then after the previous board left, I brought him back and I told him, so we're gonna go from here. We're gonna see what we can do. And it just started off with very small events. So we had like an Adobe XD workshop at that time, which is basically like a UX prototyping workshop. And then what happened was we had a few people, okay, and then we kept going, well, okay, we have more people, and then we had a bump in the road. And the bump in the road was basically, we had people on our team at that time who weren't really doing any work. And then we had to make this hard decision of, should we let these people go or should we keep our trust in them? And at that point, I was like, we need to let these people go in order for the club to grow. And then after that, in winter quarter of 2016, we had a Python workshop. And that was, I would still say, our biggest event in the history of like this club. Was like, we had like, I think 100, 150 people in like a room full of 50 people. And that just, the club just took off from there. And that made us realize that there's demand for these skills. Like departments don't really offer certain skills. Like departments can only cover so much. You have, like in info, they don't really teach Python. They go more into R, unless if you go into the data science course, and that even then you have to be in the major to go into those courses. What we do is like, you don't need to be like, you could be like pre-major and you can still learn these skills. Or if you want to like build your portfolio, like we had Ivan over here, he's in California right now doing some internship and all that. He's having fun. He had like a web dev workshop, which was teaching, he taught how to make Flappy Bird using JavaScript HTML. And it was a really cool workshop because the way he taught, it was very interactive in the sense that, oh, this is what a for loop is. Like it basically goes over basic CS knowledge that people, like beginners wouldn't know. And he goes over that. And then he's like, okay, this is what you would do. These are the steps you do to make a game. Like Flappy Bird, for instance. And then he also did like the Snake game too, which was pretty cool. And then there's Peter over here, over there. He's sitting over there. He taught the iOS workshop last quarter. And this actually showed us that there's demand for like mobile dev. Like there's really at UW, there's no mobile dev classes. There's only two, and those are in the info department, and even then they're not, I would say, the best of quality of classes. The Android dev was a really great class to me. The iOS dev was really, and when Peter teaching it, it just showed like so many people came in, and a lot of them were computer science students generally. And that just showed like people want to learn this. And so we're like, okay, we can, and we just kept going with it and going with it. And hopefully we'll continue it. Peter's busy this quarter, so we're not doing it this quarter. And hopefully we'll do it this quarter. But generally, that's what DubsTech is. It's a club for like, it's for everyone, not just students, not just CS majors, not for info majors. It's for everyone. Everyone who's interested in tech, anyone who wants to learn, anyone who wants to gain new skills in like UX, data science, software development, mobile development. That's what DubsTech is generally. That's a club for everyone. And the goal is to build like a community where everyone can just talk, hang out, and have fun while going at these events and all that. And some advice here. For my story, it's after failing my first ever class academically and doing the worst I have done academically, I got a bit discouraged. And I would just say, don't get discouraged. Like, some things just happen and you can't really control that. It's like, for me, I failed a class and it's on me. It's like, it's not about how you fail. It's about what you do after you fail, generally. And it's because, like, you could, like, I've done bad in a lot of classes, but that does not mean I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, in my iOS class, I did pretty bad. I passed the class, but it was on me. But that doesn't mean I don't know anything. I went on and practice and practice and practice, and I kept practicing until, like, I got pretty decent at it. And you just keep going, you keep going, and you keep going. And there's as long as you keep pushing forward, you will break through. And that's basically just, you just got to keep going. I've had people tell me, oh, you can't do CS. Your code sucks. You're bad at this. And it's like, those people saying that doesn't really, like, define you. People can keep saying that to you, saying, oh, you suck at this. But that doesn't mean you actually suck at this. It's it's what you do generally to get better at it, as long as you keep going forward. forward and you don't give up. And it's not hard. It's not easy. It's really hard. And just, there's been times where I'm like, why am I doing computer science? Why am I coding? Why do I want to be a software developer generally? And it happens a lot, and I have like the worst case of imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is basically where you think you get this position, or you're like a software developer or whatever position you're in, and you think you don't belong because you see other people smarter than you, and it just feels like, why am I here? I shouldn't be here. And that happens. That happens to everyone and all that. And it's just, you just got to be like, you worked hard to get there. You can't let that get in the way of like what you want to do, basically. And that's it. And it's one other thing is take it one step at a time. When I was a freshman, I was basically trying to do everything. Oh, here's Java. I should learn some Java. Oh no, here's C++. I should learn some C++. Just branching off to one language. Oh no, going another language, and there's another language. And that kind of really doesn't get you anywhere. You want to, the advice I've heard and what I've learned is learn one language and programming, or do one thing, whatever field you're doing. Get good at that so that becomes second nature, to the point where everything else you do is easier to pick up. Like if you keep jumping around from like one spot to another spot to another spot, you're really not learning anything. You're trying to find the easiest way out, generally, and all that. And you don't want to do that. It's like, again, it's not easy. And that's just how it is. It's not easy. And failure is an option. After I failed CSE 142, I thought, since UW runs on a competitive major system and all that, where a lot of grades are important, you have in personal essay right through the department, and basically a lot of people either get in or they don't get in. And I thought after failing CSE 142, it's like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not getting into CS department. I'm not getting into informatics department. That's it. My journey ends here. But then as I went on, I'm like, I retook CSE 142. I got a 3.9, which is like an A- in the class. And then that motivated me. Like, I learned at a time where it was for me, I came in with no programming knowledge, zero programming knowledge, no programming classes in high school. Always wanted to do something with computers since elementary school. No idea how to write a program. I did not know what for loop was in high school. Going into 142, I had no idea what was going on. I was basically overwhelmed. After failing the class, it also woke me up to the fact that I kind of need to get my crap together. I need to keep going. Like, this is something I'm really passionate about. If I give up now, then I won't be happy and all that. And you want to do something that makes you happy, but you also want to be like, you also can't give up on that thing. It's a hard thing. And to everyone in this room, it's like, and those who are watching, you can do it. Only you limit yourself. Like, anyone, like I've been watching this Netflix docu-series, Last Chance U. So it's basically about rejected of Division I college football players. And I will go into junior college and play football there. And I think that mentality applies. A lot of these people are getting like a second chance at doing what they want to do. For me, my second chance was retaking 142 and actually doing really good in the class and being more confident with and as I kept doing it, I became more confident going through programming in general. And then I just started diving into web development and all that. And it's like, the main theme of the Netflix series is that you only limit yourself, basically. You have these talented players, but like if they can't think they can do it, they're limiting themselves because they can do it. And it's like you can code. But if you think you can't, then you're limiting yourself to the point where, oh, you can't code, you can't do this, you can't do that, generally. And yeah, and some, like, I didn't have the slide here. There's some technical advice when it comes to, like, if you're for software dev, anyways, from my experience is that, like, learn one programming language, try to master that the best you can. Not master, even get to the point you're proficient. Other programming languages come easy. The thinking is the same. It's just logically thinking. It's just picking up other syntax after you learn one language. Another piece of advice is like if you're in an interview, like a technical interview, like you get like a leet code problem or something like a hacker rank problem they give you. It's more you don't want to panic. It's timed, and usually you don't want to panic. You want to take it slowly. You want to think through it. You want to write it out a bit, and then you want to just code it. And you just want to be confident what you put. And it's okay if you do bad, you do bad. That's just how it is. And you just keep going. You just keep practicing. You just keep getting better. That's just it. And that's how I'm trying to tackle coding interview problems. I am really bad at those. So it's just a lot of practice that I'm trying to do. Just get better at it. And another piece of advice is like, don't work alone, really. Working like back in the day, programmers, developers used to work, like the stereotype was you'd be in the basement, you'd be just coding it out and doing all that. But now it's changed. Like last night I was with Peter in the info lab, and he was helping me debug one of something I was making for my capstone project and all that. And generally, if he wasn't there, I don't think I would have figured it out on my own. And it's not wrong to ask for help. Asking for help doesn't mean you don't know it. It means it's a good thing to ask for help. And it's like, if you don't ask for help and you get stuck, you're going to fail at it. But if you have the option to ask for help, you'll understand it more because someone else who knows that concept, they can explain it to you better than you would already know. And all that. Yeah. Any questions?
So you can ask any questions like about his experience, like DubsTech, whatever, UW, things like that. So I think as Sam, I just want to let you know, Sam is here, our program director. He's the one leading the club too. Before he was also in UW Tacoma and SIU, also having this research group. And now he's here and he's doing it too. And I guess we want to know more of how we can like make people stay, make people more involved, maybe through events, because we're also planning a workshop too. Yeah, things like that. Then how do you manage people? How do you manage the audience? General questions, I guess, for now.
Yeah, so for like having a workshop, what first you want to do is market the event like as early as you can. So let's say you have a room and let's say you have the event in like 2 weeks. You want to start marketing now, if you can. Depending on when your event is, you want to start marketing as soon as possible so you get traction for the event. Mm-hmm. And you want to share on Facebook groups, you want to share on your Facebook page and all that, just so they know, oh, these events are going on and people will join. I usually have a sign-up sheet to gauge how many people want to come to these events and all that. And just in managing people, it's more you want to make them feel welcome. Like for DubsTech, what we try to do is we try to, when people come into our workshops and all that, we try our best to make them feel welcome and basically be friendly to them and be like you can do it type of thing. It's like a lot of them are beginners who come in for our workshops, and a lot of them don't know anything about UX or data science, and we're happy that they came so they can come to us. They're coming to us to learn. Mm-hmm. And we want to make them feel welcome and try to help them the best we can through it. If they have problems, like for Python, we had a few people that had problems, and we tried our best. Like some of the members would walk around and try to help people. You just want to keep people they feel like they're this community where they can thrive and all that.
Thank you for coming today. Yeah. I have an urgent meeting, that's why I come out here. Would you go back to your first slide? Can I see that?
First slide?
Yeah, yes.
This one?
Yeah, introducing yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, when did you start your DubsTech? Or do you have? I know you may explain that earlier. Mm-hmm. Where it is going now? How you started there? Where is it going? How it can help it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So DubsTech. I started my freshman year in 2015, but I wasn't the one who founded the club. It was my roommate at the time who lived with me. He founded the club. And although at the time I was like the secretary, I wasn't really the president or anything. So we founded the club in 2015. We had that's how it started. And then we had a few events. We tried to do Android dev. We tried to do like web dev and all that. It just didn't work out because I think at the time we weren't really in my opinion, we were starting too big. And all that, and it's not real, and it's not our fault. We're students. We wanna make an impact, and all that. And then the next year, that's when I took over DubsTech, and that was because my roommate, he wasn't able to get into the computer science department at UW, so he transferred to Oregon State University, and then he went to UMass Amherst, where he graduated last December, past December, with a computer science degree. And that's when I started taking over, and that's where I started making these changes, trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way we can engage people? What's the best way we can get people? I brought Joshua back. He's the CEO of DubsTech and all that, and basically he leads the workshops as well, and he does all this. And we're like, okay, let's find a way where we can get people to come. So we decided to share on Facebook groups, decided to do Facebook posts, try to post more often. And try to be, this is what we struggle at this, but we try to be more responsive to like Facebook messages, emails, as if we can, because there's a lot of people who ask about like, oh, is the club active and all that, and we get a lot of emails, and we're trying our best to respond back to them and all that.
So what are your main activities? Who are taking the bank? Just a student or intermediate, graduate, or master campus, or senior campus, or?
It's anyone. DubsTech is open for anyone who, like in Seattle, Bothell, Tacoma, if they want to come up. The events are free. They're not just for students. They're not for undergrads. They're for everyone who's very interested in like tech, who wants to learn like some new skills and all that. And we want to bring these people in to have like this sense of community where they can thrive in.
Chargeable.
Right?
Is it chargeable? Should we pay?
Oh no, it's free. It's free.
So what is the difference between meetup group or some kind of a workshop group and DubsTech? Also, we have a Northwest tax and things like that.
Mm.
Do you have any difference here?
So, in my opinion, the difference would be that we do a lot of events. Like we try to do a lot of events, and it's not really like a meetup. It's like if we have like a data science program, it's like a weekly thing where you go through that. You learn like web scraping, you learn SQL, you learn a few other things. And then once you go through that, you get a certificate at the end. And in the mentorship program, we pair you up with whoever signs up early. Like the events are open, but like we have a separate thing for a mentorship program where people, like let's say we get 50 people, we try to pair them up with a mentor from the industry.
If you are doing event, you need a resource and money, those things. Right? That's what she's asking.
Mm-hmm.
You are not charging this one. How you can operate it?
So we get by with like what we have with the university. So we get free rooms, like 2-hour free rooms from the university. And then for mentors, what we do is we cold message people on LinkedIn and see if they want to mentor and all that. And a lot of them agree, and they don't ask for money and all that. They agree, and then we pair them up and all that.
Mm-hmm. And also, like a comment, all the students running DubsTech, you don't get paid. It's just like a volunteer thing for us.
So who are majority now?
Sorry?
Who are majority? Who are leading this one?
Like how many are you? Who are you guys? What kind of students are
So,
into DubsTech?
like in the
running
the running.
You can go to the slide with the pictures.
So we have.
Because that's like the core, right? And do you have like other like volunteers too that for?
Yeah, we do. It's not just like these are like generally these were like
Not all those people.
Not all those people. This was after our what was it, UX talk?
It was a UX talk,
Yeah. And we have him. There's like not all of these people are on the main team, but we have like other people. So Peter is working on the RSO directory. We have someone who's doing design for him. Generally, we're trying to. It's not like. So basically, the admin team that run the events, and then we have other people who try to do everything as well. Like since we're making the RSO directory, we have someone doing the design for that. If you want to.
Yeah, I can try to explain. So basically, we have like a core admin team. Zubair's the president, and then Joshua is the CEO/vice president.
Mm-hmm.
Zubair kind of manages currently all the administration and stuff like that, like getting rooms and getting stuff like that. Joshua, who's the vice president /CEO, does a lot of the hands-on stuff. Like he designed all the cards and all the marketing stuff. He does mainly that. We have Daisy. She's in the picture, sort of right back there. She's like the community outreach. She's the one who cold messages everyone, and I don't know how she does it. Actually, the guy on the right in that picture, that's the director of cloud design at Google. I don't know how she got him, but she did. So yeah, she does that. Shane, he was the previous video audio guy doing all the stuff for the events, but now he's moving back to a different role. I just do kind of general development, workshops, consulting. Like I'm currently building a website for the DubsTech group, so people can very quickly see what we do instead of browsing through Facebook. And that's like the core team, I think. I got everyone. And we have a bunch of other people, students who come on for 1 or 2 weeks at a time to do 1 or 2 workshops or projects. And yeah, so everyone else is, what's the right word? Short-term volunteer, I think is how you know that. So yeah. Contract, yeah. Volunteer contract.
Yeah, because like whenever I see your events, I'm like, where do you get this large number of invited people, like invited speakers or whatever?
Yeah.
Where do you guys host all your projects?
It's generally on the University of Washington Seattle campus. And all that. That's basically where we get all the rooms and all that. That's basically
Not like the physical rooms or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the actual like the program. Program. Where
like the workshops?
They're hosted. Yeah.
Yeah, they're also hosted on the campus.
They're like
So
code.
on premise. Okay.
On premise, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because like one of the things that I would be thinking about is like, let's say us two are gonna do a workshop, and then one of the problems would be having people install stuff and just bring in their laptops. Yeah, but I guess if you can make it as easy as like you can go to an online editor, that would be fine, right?
So if I can, talk about this. So
You can talk about that. Yeah.
this is actually a main thing we're trying to restructure currently. This is like just early planning stages. So one of the ideas is to basically create a website to serve as everything. Like you can basically log in. Anyone creates an account on campus. They log in and they say, I'm interested in like Android or whatever. And then whenever we host an event that has Android in it, they can sign up and go to. Afterward, they could see all the code that the instructor wrote, but they can also upload their code so other people can browse it too. And then everyone can integrate with GitHub and like do stuff like that. So basically, it would be like a one-stop shop for all the code that you wrote for any event that you went to see all the code that the instructors wrote for any event, and also to see what other people did and build a sense of community. But unfortunately, that's not built yet. This is just the early ideas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a good.
I didn't come up with it. It was who was it?
Zubin.
Zubin. Yeah, Zubin. He came up with that idea, and so we're trying to. That's like a year-long project, realistically speaking. So, but that's like the long-term goal. Currently, we just pray, and yeah, we don't have a great way of doing it right now. Partially because it's a lot of infrastructure to set up. I mean, how many people went to the data science membership? 100, 200?
Yeah, 200.
200 people. That's a lot of things to manage. So we don't exactly have a great way to do it right now. Currently, we just do Facebook.
So when you did the data science, like how many people volunteered like to help people out? Because there would be a lot of people raising hands like, I need help.
So it's a funny story where we weren't really expecting like 200 people for our first meetup, and Joshua, he was teaching at the time, and he's like, get me someone to help out, because I was not expecting 200 people to show up in the room and all that. Then after that, we started asking people in like the club or overall who were involved, try to help out and all that. So it's like for the data science especially, we weren't expecting a lot of people. We were like, I was expecting like a full room, but I wasn't expecting like an overflow of like where we had to grab chairs from other rooms to get people in. And then there were some people who were sitting on like the windowsill and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we kind of need to figure this out where we get people to help out and all that. So we just started asking people who were available at that time to help out.
We also have a group chat with all the admin people, and we will just sometimes, Joshua will just post like, I need 3 people to come film and just sit on the side and hold the camera for an hour. So I don't think we generally need more than 5 or 10 people for any event. Yeah. Because we do them also a lot like a lecture, like this, exactly like this. Like everyone just kind of sits and does this, or they break off into their own groups. And everyone's fairly competent with like whatever design software they're using, like for the UX, or not for the mentorship program, the protothon, the jams. Yeah. So we do some like hackathon-based events, and those people generally know what they're doing, or they team up with someone who does.
So with the hackathon, is there only DubsTech who's like organizing it, or do you partner up with other organizations?
So for the hackathon, we had, well, the protothon is basically like we call it the UX hackathon. Basically, that's just all DubsTech organizing it. And all that. We had our own data science, what was that called? Datathon. Yeah, so DubsTech also had their own datathon where we hosted it ourselves and all that. But we had like a hackathon where I think it was MLH, Major League Hacking came to someone, and then that someone directed them to us, and then we partnered with them to host a hackathon and all that. And then we had like another datathon where it was hosted by a company that came to us and asked if you can help us host this on campus and stuff. It was Citadel, I think, was the company that came in that had their own datathon, and we hosted it with them and all that. So generally, a lot of it though is more like we host our own stuff.
So this is the kind of student club at the UW.
Yeah.
No, sorry, UW. Yeah.
Seattle, yes.
That's the registered student organization.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, did you work with e-science?
Oh no, we're trying to actually, and all that. Zoshua's, I think Zoshua, the CEO, he knows a few people there, so we're trying to work with them.
So for data science, for example, you need an instructor. Where did you find it?
That's a funny story because Joshua, he's the one who knew a lot of the data science stuff. He's the one who also knows a lot of it. So he taught that as well. He also taught the UX programming.
Basically, one of your key players.
Yeah.
Taught that.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. What are something unexpected obstacles? For example, we want to have a data science here. We have a lot of non-computer science major students here. So if we want to host them, what's your recommendation? Let's say cloud wanted to do that.
Yeah. So a lot of the obstacles we encountered were getting rooms.
That's no problem. Okay.
Yeah. And then it's like assuming that yeah. So
also, we have a pizza here. Okay.
Yeah. So it's also there are going to be a lot of, we try to gear towards beginners and all that. And the issue generally, well, like a lot of beginners will come in, they won't feel like, there'll be also advanced people too, because it's open for everyone. Yeah. So it's just making the beginners feel comfortable too. Like we just say, it's okay if you don't know this, you can partner with someone who does and try to work with them and we just try to help them out as we go through.
Maybe that's a good suggestion. Like before you start the workshop, like if there are people who are already not in the beginner, they can pair up with someone, right?
Yeah, when I was doing the iOS development workshops, we had some people who actually never coded before. They were getting into iOS development, which is really complicated. So thankfully there were only a couple of them. And so I had them, like they would come up afterwards and talk to me, hey, I don't know what a for loop is. And I'm like, okay, go to this website, here's a link you can read out. That was a sequential thing. So for them, that was a lot easier. But I assume you're talking about like one event, right? Like
first we started the first event, that is the one event. Then we may have a second.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have multiple events, you can like give them resources and they can learn on their own. If you have multiple events, that works pretty well in our experience. Because then those people tend to be very motivated and they will actually learn on their own. Some stuff. Obviously you can't push it too far. But yeah, for the one-off events, I mean, with Ivan, he's over there on the top left. When he was teaching the web development workshop, as you mentioned earlier. I don't know if you're there for that, but Ivan was teaching to a room full of people who might not even know programs or JavaScript or anything. And so he did it he could speak better about it. He did like he would teach from nothing, and he would just kind of skip over little bits as he went.
So how many hours? Then usually Saturday or?
Yeah, your workshop. How long does it usually take? Restricted to 2 hours?
Don't say all day long.
It's generally the average time has been 2 hours.
Wow.
2 hours, and it's not on weekends because we did like it's weird because we've done it on Fridays and we're like, oh, no one's gonna show up on a Friday, but then a lot of people actually show up on a Friday. So generally we try to do that on weekdays, like midweek, like on Wednesday, Friday, since Friday works with a lot of people too, and if there's like another one, a Tuesday even, just to add that in there and all that. So we do it on generally it's been weekdays. The only events we have been on Saturdays have been our Datathon and our Protothon, which our Protothon is also coming up this Saturday. I can talk to me more about after the talk. I can give you more information on that.
Sure. Yeah, I tried 1 hour for the iOS development because I was worried about people getting bored. That didn't work out very well because at least the way I was trying to do it was it didn't give a lot of time for students to actually try things out. And as a result, they didn't learn as much as they could. And this is my fault, I didn't give them assignments to do between the weeks. And so in 1 hour, we had to accomplish so many things. Like I taught them the programming language Swift in about 2 hours, basically. Or 1 hour, 1.5. And it was not enough time. So 2 hours from experience is the way to go.
But the best thing about the iOS one was that by the end, people were able to start building apps and all that. And it's just amazing to see there's people who came in that had no idea about iOS. There was a guy he didn't even have a Mac, and he was coming every week to learn Swift and all that. And then I met I was coming back from my hometown, and I met the guy on the train, and he got a Mac and all that. And he was making an app, and I asked him, how much do you think iOS helped you? And it helped him a lot, generally. And he was, I think he messaged you after a hackathon or something where he was able to finish his iOS app and all that. And it's a lot of these people were able to learn even if they had no knowledge of Swift or iOS in general.
You just have to kind of drive their passion forward a little bit.
So you are a student.
Yeah.
No. So you are volunteer at this one, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the other one. Somebody asks you, okay, you volunteer a while. Okay, you spend your time for somebody. What are you gaining? Or what is your benefit? If somebody asks you, or simply I sacrifice, but that's not enough. You may got something for this one.
I look at it as for the benefit I get for just volunteering a lot. I look at it in the sense that I'm making an impact on other people. I'm helping students out. We're having this free resource for students where they can come in. And generally, we try to target people who have no experience. If they have experience, that's fine, and everyone's welcome. And that's because, and generally, for me, my freshman year of college, university, I had no knowledge of programming. And I understand how people feel when they come in and they want to do something, they want to make a website, but they don't know how to. And for me, the benefit is that seeing someone who has no knowledge come in and be able to build that website they always wanted to, build his portfolio or her portfolio, build the game, build the snake game or something. That's the benefit I get. I get the enjoyment of people being able to accomplish what they wanted to do. And this is the resource that helps them get there.
I'm not quite sure if you see this, but there's also another huge benefit that you get out of it, indirectly, is that your ability to deploy empathy and understanding that not a whole lot of people have computer science language background or no background at all, and being able to articulate your thoughts in a way that non-computer science people can understand is a huge advantage, especially when you go into the real world and you talk to outside stakeholders and try to explain to them what your feature is doing, what your product is doing, what you're trying to get at. Because a lot of the developers are they know how to talk in developing languages, where and that's I think that is the benefit. That is probably the biggest benefit. Yeah, be able to articulate yourself into different audiences. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that too. I never looked at it that way. For when I came in as a freshman, when I took CSE 142, he was talking about for loop, a while loop, all this syntax. I had no idea what was going on. And when I know, I understand how you feel. I get it. I was in that position as well.
I also comment, for me personally, I go a different angle. For me, there is no better way to learn something than have to explain it to a room of 30 people on the spot. There's no better way to learn. It's a little bit of a selfish way of thinking about it. I obviously also understand that. There's nothing better than someone's eyes lighting up. But that's sort of a cliche thing. But yeah, you really do get that as well, and you also get to learn what you're teaching so much more because you have to be prepared. I was after I taught the iOS development workshop, I spoke to a guy, Zach.
Yeah.
This guy he was a transfer student to CS, and afterward I was giving him a bit of a run up on Swift. And the first thing he asked me, is Swift dynamically typed or statically typed? And I'm just no one's asked me that. Let me think. Or he'd ask how does Swift treat memory management for objects? And I'm you're the first person to ask that. Like, you have to be prepared for those kind of questions. And you will never be more prepared than having the potential to have people ask you those on a day-to-day basis. What's it I gather?
It's great. It enhances your knowledge.
It keeps you sharp.
Yeah.
Because like I remember like so just with our previous classes with Sam, and he was like he was talking about security stuff, right? But he just presented us with the Java code. No complicated code there. But he was asking like, so what does this public static do? What is void? What is the package? What is? I was like, oh, it's not usually asked in the computer courses, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Stuff like that.
Like, and then one more thing, another benefit for me was that I came out with like a lot of management skills throughout this and all that. Like, when I first took over, like the reason I was hesitant of taking over first because I'm like, I have no management skills. I've never really done like this type of club before. And then as just going through, I just learned how to manage things. I learned how to do like getting rooms for the events and stuff, and learned how to like, if there's some sort of conflict, learn how to calm that down and like make it go from there and all that. It's just a lot of management skills I was able to learn just through doing this for the 3 years.
So when you guys teach, when you guys lecture, do you guys lecture and you explain to them like the software development life cycle?
No, we haven't done that because it's generally, we try to keep it as basic as possible and all that. And for us, it's more, it seems like software development lifecycle might be a bit too much for a lot of these students and all that, because a lot of them don't really know what like a for loop is and all that. And you have to we have to understand that we want to do it to the point they understand this. If we go into something else too, they might not get it and all that.
I'm curious again, going back like a while ago, you said you have to let some of the people go, right? And then how do you deal with that? Like, how do you tell them, and how do you go about it? What was your thought process?
So I wasn't the one who let them go. Like so Joshua, he's the one who essentially like, I told him we have to let these people go. You might have to tell them that I'm sorry, it's not working out. We gotta part ways, basically. And I've said it to one person, and then Joshua said it to like everyone else at that time. And it's just like, it's not an easy thing to do, really. Like,
How did they take it to them?
Letting go on which aspect?
Okay, tell the story like why.
So letting go is, so basically what happened, there was a point in DubsTech where we hired a few people. They weren't really doing any work. They weren't invested in the club, and the club was really going nowhere at that time. And the CEO, Joshua, and I, we had to come to a decision whether to let these people go and go their separate ways and do what they want to do, or keep them. I told Joshua was for keeping people at the time, and I'm like, the club is not going anywhere. We kind of have to let them go. In order, it's like a small sacrifice you have to make for the club to improve. And it's not an easy thing to do. Like, oh, I'm sorry, this isn't working out. We kind of have to let you go. We hope it works out for you in the future or some other place you decide to volunteer and work with and all that. And it's just a hard thing to do and all that. Luckily, we were able to do it in the nicest way possible, and it worked out from there.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, go for it.
What's your, so after you graduate, what field of interest are you interested in?
So I've broken up into a short-term goal. I want to do software development for like 3 or 4 years, and then go into management for 3 to 4 years, and then try going and starting a startup.
Now, yeah, so like, but in which field? As in security, as in development, as in like
CEO is
as in
so you have president.
any of those kind of things.
You have a
Well,
CEO.
what's your interest?
My interest has always been web development and mobile development, generally, and something to like. I want to get. I tried coding in Java. I hated it, and all that. It's not for me, and all that. And I like the more applied computer science where you get to see what you make. Like you see, oh, here's this website, I'm making it, and then, oh, this is how it looks now, and then you change something. Oh, that looks cool, and just changing it. You see your progress as you go, and all that. That's what I'm very interested in. All of that.
I've been convinced them with Java. They're kidding.
Because you didn't take a Java, you did a B. You are a PhD student, right? MBA student, right?
Yeah.
Yes. If we have a data science, you want to come? Data science.
We're thinking about it.
Well, we can work together.
We haven't chosen our
That's marketing. You should definitely.
Just asking.
Any business intelligence, you need a data science. Also, you need AI too, right? Or you're smart. Guys,
That's why they have things.
AI is a weird one. Everyone likes to say AI, even though it's not AI.
Yeah.
It's important.
MSX is AI.
It's more important to
You know what?
realize.
My generation, all our
Object
business is AI. That's why we could not find it out.
What you were saying, Peter?
Yeah, it was like when we were at CES earlier last month. Literally every single company slapped AI onto something. There was an AI shoe insert?
AI shoe, yeah.
Like honestly, for me, in my opinion, it's more important to know when it's actually AI and when it's not, and that will get you in the door.
Yeah,
It's more like object-oriented stuff.
That was a cool thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are
Yeah.
doing the two projects. Data science, I put into the low plan because I have a lot of computer science. We are doing serverless computing. That's at the top one. Then the other group is doing less coding or smart programming, which like without our approach is not coding. We can solve a problem by using computing. Done, right? So we are working on that. We will have that kind of also workshop. We want to put it much more CDU campus here. Because we don't want to go to the other side of the student come. So also in classroom, we are doing kind of a workshop. Candidates reading. That is the serverless development. And we tested that material first in classroom. And we want to put it outside and then we want to invite the people. Kevin, just one day, everybody can run serverless development. Oh, he's saying good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that,
Okay.
That's kind of like what our take here is like trying to teach people the current technology, right? So that's the plan of Sam and Kevin. Like,
No, not current technology. Emerging technology.
Emerging,
And
okay.
markets are looking.
Yep.
That's the winning strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to teach C++. My students cannot find jobs. So I have to teach them.
Yeah, because Sam really emphasizes that everyone knows how to code already. So you need to teach them like tools, frameworks, the serverless stuff, just to keep people with edge.
Yeah.
It's funny because companies will tell you like, oh, it doesn't matter if you don't know the language. Because we understand that you'll learn the language. But more often than not, I've seen people who have like the new technology on their resume get the job.
Like, you know, even people say, hey, said you love English, you want to learn another Java language. What the heck are you talking about? You want to do that? No. Language means what you have to understand culture. That's the very hardest part. Look at the homeless people. They are native speakers. They cannot get a job because they do not have a professional culture. That's why a lot of students, oh, I love the Java, I love the Python, I can do that. No, Python is a Python culture, Python API, Python community. So that's why your team is bringing some kind of atmosphere to the students.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry I was not here earlier, but I'm sorry if you have to go over this again. But
No,
what
fine.
do you do at the data science mentorship program? Is this a club or?
Yeah, so it's part of the DubsTech. So DubsTech is the overall club, and the data science mentorship program is a program in DubsTech, and anyone can do that program. It doesn't have to be like UW students. It can be anyone. And basically, what we go over, like when we did it, we had like web scraping, we had data wrangling, we had a SQL workshop, and then we had like a datathon as well, just to showcase. Oh, this is
You use the R or use the Python or which one?
R, because like in UW, the info classes, they teach R, like in the intro one, so we generally use R.
So I have a follow-up question because you with that mentorship program, you also have like you pair people, right? Pair a mentor with a mentee. So like when you pair someone, do they just go along whatever works for them? they meet up, whatever.
So
What happens?
a lot of the mentors we get, since it's LinkedIn cold messages, they might not live in Seattle.
I see.
All that. So what we do is usually we try to set up like an initial email. We set them up, and then they go from like if they want to Skype, if they want to do a Google Hangouts or whatever. That's how we.
Even remotely, they can come. They can mentor them.
Yeah.
Okay. Great idea.
Because I've been signing up for a different group and then the mentorship, and then that's one of the struggles. Sometimes they pair you up and then you meet physically, and then it doesn't work out, like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes they would encounter mentors that they would want really, but they don't have time, so it's like confusing. What?
So I have one question about my study.
Yeah.
So let's say you have like specific
It
goal
is
and
a
specific,
program.
interest in
So
field
you will have
and
to
you want
pay
pursue
the
it.
tutor.
And then like how do you define what you need to
So
learn
you have to
to
pay the
actually
teacher?
achieve that goal? Like first,
No.
because I think
Like,
computer
say,
science
I
has so
mentioned
many things.
Sometimes, right?
So like you're saying, it's like
But
there's a
you-
certain field
we
you
had
want to
in
go
the
into,
same
and you
school.
want to learn
So
about
you
Doesn't
can
need
the.
to be the
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
A lot of
Okay.
mentors, right?
So
Yeah, you need to
for
be
that, like I
You want
didn't.
to pay that?
I didn't know I wanted to do like what I'm interested in like coding is the mobile applied side, like
That's
mobile
what I
devs
do
at
too,
web
like,
devs.
can you mention?
And it's generally like
They will teach you for free.
trial. It's generally like just finding what you like in programming or whatever field you want to do. Like if you like, let's say you're in business, you like marketing, go for that. Go for marketing and try to find out what you can do for marketing. Or if it's like you're in, let's say, computer science and you like the applied programming, like making web apps, mobile apps, all that, and you just go into that generally. And you,
No, but like how if I already have a goal, and then like how do I define what I need to study?
oh, if you already have a goal that you need to study, well, that depends on like, let's say what's your goal generally? Like,
Right now, I think I'm interested in machine learning. So,
okay.
What kind of language to study?
Okay, so I don't know much about machine learning, but we have a resource on DubsTech. It's the Data Science Library, which has old, which has old it'll have like old data science stuff. Maybe I think we have a machine learning section in there as well. It's where you can basically what we're trying to do is create like libraries basically, like Medium articles, compiled Medium articles are like books and all that into one file. Where for people, if you're like interested in machine learning and that's like more of a data science thing, you can go in there and find articles that how do you start and all that. Generally, it's just you gotta let's say you're interested in machine learning, you're gonna have to start like Googling it, and you have to go from there. Generally, it's very hard because there's not really a resource where it tells you, oh, this is machine learning, this is where you start. That's what we're trying to do. That's some project we're working on where we compile a list of resources, and it's gonna be for everyone to use. And it's not just UW Seattle. It's for everyone. If anyone's interested in it, and they just go into it, and they can find what they want to do, and all that.
What?
Peter, could you send me the link to the?
It's on Medium, by the way, just medium.com/data science library with dashes. If I could just comment on that a little bit. As someone who's literally struggling to fit their list of programming languages on one line on a resume, I understand the struggle of wanting to learn something and trying to figure out how to do it. So Zubair's method, I'm sorry, I missed out the last part, but you may have said this, but Zubair's method is to find someone who knows that thing and just constantly ask them questions. And it works great. Because he actually, I don't know if you can see the picture, he's sitting like right behind me on the wall. I think you're on your phone on that
I'm
one.
like right there, you can barely see me.
So he just attended those just to like help manage stuff because I was new to the club. But he just kind of picked up things as went on the workshop. So he wasn't really there for the whole time. I think
I was there for the whole time.
You were there for the whole time. He was there for the whole time.
I wasn't really like participating.
Yeah, but you still picked up like
Yeah,
stuff
I
and
picked
what was
up.
going on. And whenever he had questions, he always asked me like, hey, like I think you asked like, hey, I want to learn how to use serverless, like how to do Firebase.
Oh yeah.
Like, how do I go about this? And I'm like, okay, well, use this API, look at this documentation, here's a couple of things that I struggled with that you might want help on. And here's a couple of good YouTube videos. Now, I know they're good because I worked on a project for about 3 months a couple of years ago where I had to deal with looking through horrible articles and bad YouTube videos. And if you do enough of that, you start to realize what's a good tutorial, what's a bad tutorial. And, it takes just trial and error, like you said, like just like Googling. Like if you literally just Google how to do machine learning, you'll get some good results, like from Google. Google actually does a great series of tutorials with what's their thing? TensorFlow.
TensorFlow, yes.
TensorFlow. They do some great video tutorials on that. And even if you don't know what TensorFlow is, it's a starting point. And then you just kind of go from there. Yeah.
Microsoft has a great tutorial that's open source as well.
Yeah.
So I like what Peter said. Like you look for the people that your goal is like there too. So it can be one of your tasks. You can invite industries who's working with machine learning, invite them here.
That's like next level is like messaging someone who works at Google machine learning and being like, hey, can you teach me how to do this? But it's so crazy. It works sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
Yeah.
like
for our LinkedIn mentor, for the mentorship program, it's like we message like 200 people cold message, generally saying, oh, would you be interested in this? And we got a lot of replies saying, oh yeah, we'd be interested in this and all that.
Wow.
And it's just generally, you just gotta go out and sometimes you just gotta message them and just see what happens.
obviously there's a limit to that.
Yeah, there
like
is.
these are people with full-time jobs, and a lot of them will probably be like, just Google it, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a very delicate balance between, like, we're able to leverage the amount of students we get on campus, right? Imagine if you get an email saying, hey, can you teach to 100 people? You're going to say yes. Versus if you're just like, hey, can you teach me something? Answer. So, yeah. The key is not to be selfish.
That's why you invite people. You're looking for somebody. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I invited them, because I want like the club how to manage it better, grow organically. That's why,
Yeah.
No, I really just wanted you guys to be here because I want to get connected with you guys. And let's say next time maybe we could collaborate. Maybe our school is very open if you need a venue, definitely, because we open our doors to outside people. We have like third party who we don't know. We just rent our venue for free. So that's one of the things you can have here. And maybe we can invite you guys next time for if we want like a series of workshop. Maybe we can have you as an invited mentor, speaker, whatever, right? Like
You
that.
can do the data science workshop. You can have a serverless workshop.
Yeah, exchange.
together.
That'd be great. Yeah. Any more questions?
No, sir. Let them have a break.
Oh yeah.
And then before closing, they announce another hour right to the talk.
Oh.
Later.
Yeah. Okay. So, any more questions? Closing remarks?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.